Hey, what is up guys, Seth here, and here it is, the most demanded secret tier 1 deck profile. Now this is Volcanics, and you would think looking at this deck that there's nothing much to it, but I assure you, like I said in my other video, it has a lot of potential. And with the OCG variants and the TCG variants, it's a little bit different, but I'll explain the differences that you can choose when it comes to TCG. So, always remember to comment, like, and share. It does help the actual the knowledge of this deck. Like, people just don't understand that Volcanics can be a tier 1 deck at the moment. People won't research Volcanics because they just don't know about the deck. It's an old deck, and people just don't understand until they see it, and they see it in action. So please share this video, it does help out, and it spreads the knowledge of this deck. So without further ado, here's the deck profile. We've got 2 Mathematician, we've got 3 Royal Firestorm Guards, we have 3 Volcanic Counter, we have 1 Volcanic Doomfire, 3 Volcanic Rocket, 3 Volcanic Scattershot, and 3 Volcanic Shell. We have 1 Blaze Accelerator, 2 Circle of the Fire Kings, Foolish Burial, Forbidden Lance, Instant Fusion, Mystical Space Typhoon at 2, Pot of Duality at 2, 3 Blaze Accelerator Magazines, Compulsory Evacuation Device, 2 Mirror Forces, 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blasts, 1 Secret Blast, 1 Solemn Warning, and 2 Vanity's Emptiness. Now, I did have 2 Instant Fusions, but I dropped it for the Secret Blast because Secret Blast is such a good card at the moment. Like, that's so OP at the minute. It inflicts 300 damage to your opponent for each card they control. However, it also, if it is, like, you can chain that. If you chain that to your opponent's MST, you can inflict the 300 damage for each card they control, and then on top of that, when it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you'll inflict a further 1000 damage. How good is that card in the form of this deck, just to burn people out? It's so good against Califort because they're using so many cards. It's good against the Telenites, providing that they don't, trap stun and things like that. It's just a solid card. Now, that's the OCG variant. The OCG variant, the reason that we run Instant Fusion is Elder God Nodin. So if you really want to make a TCG variant, then what people mostly do is they drop the Instant Fusion and probably Secret Blast, and then they put in 2 Fire Hands, and then they drop 2 of the other cards, let's say Pot of Duality. We'll say Pot of Duality or Circle of the Fire Kings. In fact, Circle of the Fire Kings, you drop 2 of those and you put in 2 Ice Hands, and there you go, you've got your TCG variant of the Volcanic deck. The only thing you're missing is Blaze Accelerator Magazine, but that will come to the TCG, hopefully. So when that comes to the TCG, you guys will have a budget-friendly tier 1, possible tier 1 rogue deck. I see it reaching tier 1 if people can play it right, and I've been playing this deck a lot. It stands up to the meta pretty well. It doesn't get affected by skill drains, it doesn't get affected by Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, it doesn't get affected by Light Imprisoning Mirror. Vanity's Emptiness does nothing to it. The only thing that really affects it is Trap Stun and Royal Decree, but that doesn't affect it too much either because Blaze Accelerator can activate from the grave. And MST doesn't affect it because if your opponent MSTs, they have to make the decision of, do they want you to keep getting card advantage, drawing one on your turn, on their turn? Do they want that, or do they want you to have the ability to banish the Blaze Accelerator Magazine and then send 3 Scattershots to the grave and make a Raigeki effect? These are the choices that people have to make when playing against this deck, and it makes for really good psychological dueling because sometimes you might have Blaze Accelerator Magazine and sometimes you might not. Maybe they instead hit the Vanity's Emptiness. Maybe you've got a Vanity's Emptiness and they don't want to MST, so they activate they activate Shadow Fusion, and then you flip up the Vanity's Emptiness, and then they maybe chain MST. But that's because you've got another Blaze Accelerator to the side, so that doesn't matter to you because you can just drop your Scattershot with the Draw 1 effect, and then he gets his effect to destroy, all monsters your opponent controls. It's a really solid deck. You guys should try it out. I really do suggest you try it out. And if when it comes to side deck and things, it's the typical side decks. Wabuku, Spiritual Fire at Kurunai. You got the Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors, the Dust Tornadoes. If you feel that you're going to get what's the him? If you feel that's going to be used against you, you can use Dust Tornado instead of Mystical Space Typhoon. Volcanic Queen and things like that. It's all available. It's all available to you. And to be honest, it's all about the burn damage. You can get the burn damage. There's Inferno and things like that. Inferno can actually be used on certain, Shadow cards like Shadow Dragon. Things like that. When your main concern here is just creating hand advantage through constant field flooding and then refueling the scatter shots back into your deck using Royal Firestorm and Guards, or Emerald. There is Emerald somewhere, and you can run Emerald if you want to run Emerald. I personally don't. I like using Royal Firestorm Guards because most people don't run Breakthrough Skill at the moment. People just don't. So anyways guys, that is the Volcanic Tier 1 deck profile. If you do like the video, then please remember to comment, like and subscribe. It really does help out, and happy Christmas to everybody.